A WWE talent has been granted their release and will debut on Dynamite tonight. And also, we just heard from Christian Cage on what he believes his future is going to be in pro wrestling. Before we get to any of that, though, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Brian Kendrick has been granted his release from WWE and will face Jon Moxley tonight on Dynamite live from Chicago, Illinois. Now, this is something that kind of just got put together fairly recently. We knew that Brian Kendrick was someone who was signed for WWE, and I think he was one of the talents who was signed at the time AEW was coming up, so he was kind of one of those talent hoarding signs, you could say. And he was very scarcely used. He was on like 205 Live, and then 205 Live obviously died after they got rid of all of the talent on there. And then, he was doing some stuff on NXT 2.0. He was most recently in an angle with Joe Gacy and Harlan on NXT 2.0 that I thought was very interesting. When Brian Kendrick, who by the way just came out of nowhere, was kicked down a flight of stairs, and then that set up a big match between him and Harlan, and you heard Brian Kendrick's music play, and he didn't come out, and there was zero explanation as to why. Well, maybe this kind of tells you what may have happened. Maybe he was unhappy, and I understand how with someone like Brian Kendrick, who has been around. He's been around the WWE system for a while. He had that kind of career resurgence back in the Cruiserweight Classic era, and ever since then, it seems like he's just shifted down and down the card. Obviously, people will remember his career highlight of being the WWE champion in the Championship Scramble match in 2009. Google it, kids. And you could see, though, how someone who was scarcely used and who has this background in wrestling, has this love and passion for pro wrestling, you can understand why he might be a little frustrated or might want to explore other avenues creatively. And I think that's exactly what the situation was here. Maybe we'll hear from Brian Kendrick somewhere down the line. But one thing I do know is he will be facing Jon Moxley in Chicago live on Dynamite. And say what you want, Moxley's probably going to win, but that match is going to be very interesting to watch. Last thing we're going to talk about is Christian Cage. So Christian Cage had some very interesting things to say on Twitter. He said on Twitter the following: 1 year ago today, I took my career back. Man, 2021 was wild. I was involved in 3 pay-per-view main events for 3 different companies and had some special moments. That being said, AEW is my home for the rest of my career. So what do I want to do in 2022? The world, Chico, and everything in it. So there you heard it. Christian Cage, who obviously did take his career back in 2021. There was obviously a lot of talk about, how is he going to do after the injury? How is he going to do coming off of all the concussions and a 7-year absence? Well, we saw, and Christian Cage is still one of the best in-ring performers there probably is around in any company. And I think the fact that he is so resolved and so resolute, you should say, in the way that he approaches this and saying that AEW is my home for the rest of my career, AEW is where I'm going to stay, where I plan to stay at least. That's big. That means 2 big things. One, Christian Cage kind of understands his role as kind of an older guy. He's not always going to be in the main event at all the time. And you could say that, honestly, his time in the main event scene, at least in AEW, is probably past him. Because he was in the main event of All Out. He won the Impact Wrestling Championship from Kenny Omega, which are probably 2 of the biggest things you could accomplish, honestly, in 2021, outside of winning the AEW title in that sphere. So really, for Christian Cage to say this means he understands that, hey, I'm not going to be wrestling for the world title anytime soon, but I already did that. What's the next challenge? Maybe the next challenge is having a fulfilling storyline. Maybe it's something with Jungle Boy. Maybe it's something with Luchasaurus. Maybe it's something that doesn't have anything to do with either of them. Maybe it's something with Matt Hardy and then the Hardy brothers. There's so much out there now for Christian Cage to explore, and the fact that he seems very, very understanding of it means I think we're going to get some really good work out of Christian Cage. So, hey everyone, we hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, keep it real.